Okay, so we've got 35 workers arrested yesterday. Now I had to leave because my program yesterday didn't allow me to come back. I'm sorry about that. But we had Fighter Ephraim from PFS is the one you've been communicating with. So we wanted to thank Ephraim for bringing the issue to our attention in the EFF legislature here in Gauteng. So we were supposed to have a meeting Mawane with the leadership and the lawyers. The lawyers were not available, they were calling. And then we met this morning. Okay, let me maybe introduce the people right here. These are all the workers from the Pick n Pay Distribution Center. There's a fourth labor broker in the Can't in your impact, can't. So these are all the workers. I'm Mandisa Mashego, the party leader in the EFF legislature. This is Mandisa, she's one of the MPLs. One of the MPLs. There's another one, Sindani. So, this is what we've done. We had a meeting today. We understand about the arrested workers. We are going to see them later today. Unfortunately, I've got a meeting at 1 o'clock at a school in Zandspread where there's a problem. But I have no choice. I have to go and attend it. After that, I'm going to join the leaders and your representatives and anyone else who wants to accompany us. Go back to the police station and go and see the workers. We are going there with our lawyers. Our lawyers are going to get an understanding. We know that they were appearing in court. They are probably still in court. Yes or no? Yes. So there are other workers who went to see them. No? Unfortunately, we could not see them. So we'll go and see them in the afternoon and then take it from there to make sure that they are quickly released. And to find out what is the charge and all of those things. We understand one of the workers was injured. But they released him. Right? They're about keeping him at 35. Okay, can one person, let's have one meeting. Let's have one person communicate with them now. Someone so that we can welcome them all. So, if they're out, that's fine. But we still need to find out whether the state or whether the state, the Pick n Pay, wants to continue with the harassment so that our lawyers can proceed. We don't lose cases with EFF. We don't lose cases. Because EFF does not depend on numbers. It depends on knowledge and the quality of the knowledge. So our lawyers and ourselves will sit down and we thoroughly look at the proposals of the state and all of that. So don't be nervous. If those charges, we are going to get the state to drop them. It's that simple, so don't panic. Then, the biggest issue now are the demands that we made to Pick n Pay. The representatives Mawane gave the demands to representatives from Kelly, Kuta, Impact and others. Now, we took a copy of those demands from what they told us because they was the actual copy. Next time when you communicate with those people, you must always have a copy of everything. Always. Never give them something and not have a copy. So, now we are going to take those demands and then work further on them and develop a political position to support the struggle to have labor brokers back. Right? That's our political agenda, right? But on the labor side, because we are not organized through a union, and we are not a union, so legally we do not have the right to represent you. However, in terms of labor law, we cannot represent you because we are not a union, we do not organize you, we are not recognized by your employer. But we are a political party, in fact we are a socialist movement struggling for economic freedom. That is the only mandate we require. You are the people that we are representing. So what we are going to do we are going to meet with those general managers from those companies, and then we are going to demand that they send a representative very senior from Pick n Pay. We don't want to talk only to Kelly, Rina and EFF. We want to only speak to those slave drivers alone. It's not a problem for us. Rina, we don't want to speak to them alone because the real enemy is Pick n Pay. The real enemy is Pick n Pay. The shareholders of Pick n Pay, the executives of Pick n Pay, the directors of Pick n Pay. Those are the enemies of yourself and our enemies and anybody who's representing your interest. Those are our enemies. The labor brokers are simply agents. They're like those people who used to sell slaves in the 1500s in West Africa and take them to America and Europe and drown them in ships and abuse them and do all sorts of horrific things. That's what the labor broker is. And the ANC and its government are the ones who are giving permission to this labor broker and Pick n Pay to abuse you. Right? So, now we are taking the battle straight to Pick n Pay. Asibasabi. Asibasabi. Siyabafuna. Asibasabi. So, when we go as EFF and our lawyers, not as your union, representing this situation that you are in, with the representatives we are not going to proceed with the meeting until the agreement is completed. Because to negotiate with the agent, it's not going to have, they'll come back with another story. So you all agree on those minimum wage for 8 hours. Number 1,006 points. Because the different, those ones. We've all agreed, we've discussed it. Because as full way I have pursued anything at Kumelananga, ngayo nina kuqala. Isolo sivumelene ngani. Solidarity. We agreed again. If you sell out, you are going to be selling out the entire agenda. So if we don't have a character in your father, must find a way of dealing with it. Not going to compromise. So there's the issue of the minimum wages and the 3-shift system that is calculated according to 8-hour blocks. Then there's the LIA transport. I'm going to keep checking with your leaders if I'm saying something. Then there's the story of the transport, the 20 rand, I don't know, some story. So this is what I suggested to you. We need to sit down collectively, democratically, and agree. Is this 20 rand just? Is it fair? Just to yourself for a trip? Are you spending less than 20 rand per trip? Yes, we are spending less. So, if you are spending less than 20 rand per trip to come to work, you are going to reject the 20 rand offer that they say they will deduct from your salary. Because, obviously, somewhere, somehow, they've already agreed on a transport provider, they're working on a business deal and a business plan. They want to make more profit out of Amanda when we cannot allow that. We cannot allow black sacking. We can't allow that. So that's the position we are agreeing on. Then there's the additional issue of the toilet story. Actually, it's a tragedy, it's not a story. Let me apologize. No one can tell you how much time you should spend in a private situation like that. It's abusive. It's abusive in the worst way. It's disrespectful. It does not even take your dignity into account. That's just something that we cannot tolerate. We understand that over 30 minutes, then they decide how much money to deduct, etc. and so on. So Leo Yona, we're going to tell them outright to scrap it. Just scrap it. Even what we're going to do, we're going to register a case with the South African Human Rights Commission. In order to do that, I'm going to ask you going to sign that signature right, so that we can attach it to the complaint that we are going to submit to the Human Rights Commission about the toilet issue. And then we are also going to include the racist name calling that your supervisors are subjecting you to. We must make sure that the Human Rights Commission comes to Pick n Pay on a separate case to attend to those complaints and proceed with that legal matter. If it means that we must sue them for emotional trauma on behalf of every worker, we will then proceed from there and embark on a civil lawsuit to sue them for the emotional trauma that they put you through because of the racist managers and so who are supposed to be managing your productivity, but instead they are managing your self-esteem and your self-image to make sure that you constantly feel like you are below the earth's surface. We are not going to allow that kind of racism to continue anymore in this country. It must stop. Aribati Kodesa, Aribati TLC, it must stop. And the only way to make it stop is through action. You must show white people in the workplace, or Indians, if it's Indians, or colors, if it's colors, or any other person, even if they are black, who bring tendencies that racism and tribalism. Must never tolerate those things. Or even sexism against the females. We are not going to tolerate those kinds of things. And I renegotiated, going to the Human Rights Commission, and from there we'll take the battle on. Now, let's proceed to what happens from now onwards. We will go there first to see those general managers with Pick n Pay, and then we'll set an appointment with them for tomorrow. Because today our lawyers are not available. I will accompany your leaders and then insist that if they want to talk to them, our lawyers must be present. So, tomorrow our lawyers will be present. Today we go to the police station. Next week, in the course of next week, we start the process of the South African Human Rights Commission. In the meantime, you do the signature. Let me come to the bad news. Now I'm coming to the bad news. Are you prepared? Yes. I agree you are contracted via a labor broker. Slave traders. From today onwards, we are going to call them slave traders. You must even tell them to their faces. There's nothing they can do to you. They are slave traders. They are slave traders. And we are not slaves. Yes. This thing that they are doing to you, they did it in the 1500s in West Africa. It's 2014 or 2015. We are not going to allow slavery. This is institutionalized slavery. Trust me, I've worked a little bit in the trade union sector. I understand some of the politics a little bit, although I'm not a trade unionist now. So, you are contracted, because I don't want to call it employment. You know, employment is a situation that is fair. I trade my services with the company that employs me. It's not a favor when I'm an employee. The company is not doing me a favor. I'm working, they pay me. We have a transactional relationship. And that transactional relationship must be legislated and it must be guided by fair and just laws, which the South African Constitution claims to present through the Labor Relations Act. But yourselves, being brought here to the slave camp by the slave traders, you don't enjoy that employment status. You don't. Trust me, you don't. You know employment. So, that means they have frustrated probably everything you have tried to do to get yourself representatives that are legitimate, who are registered trade unions. I know they do that. I've also worked for a labor broker many years ago. That's what I told them. Right? Because I could not go on with that arrangement. The minute you start talking to a trade union, they fire you. The minute you start talking to a trade union, they fire you. And let me explain something else. Was it this comrade, there was a comrade who told me about the training at 2 months. The 3-month training where there's no payment. Do you know why they do that? I want to empower you today. You must tell all the workers who are not here. Explain it to them. I'm going to make it very simple. They have you there, giving you slave wages. Then they have these ones that they are training as backup. They are not giving them even a stipend to buy lunch or to be able to buy food to make lunch, but Taras Captain, but Parliament transport. I guess we are dependent now on this racist white supremacist economy, thanks to the ANC. So they know that if I'm poor, I have no choice but to accept it. So they say to you, look, I'm not giving you work, I'm giving you an opportunity for work. Come and train for 3 months, I'm empowering you. You see, Mutu is abusing you with your permission. How abuser, but he's getting your permission in abusing you. It's like the apartheid debt that the ANC government, when Nelson Mandela and Thabo Mbeki took over in 1994 and made us pay for it through our taxes. What were they doing? They were making us pay for our own enslavement and oppression. That's what they're doing. So they train them on the side, they keep them as backup stock. So that when you start to demand your rights, when you start to tell them we are going to organize ourselves, we are going to demand our duty and constitutional rights as workers, they fire you, they know that it is better. And what is enabling them to do that? Poverty. At some point they don't have a choice. At some point. Which is what I said to you yesterday. That even when you go back to work, I want you to understand very clearly. This is a struggle that we are starting. We go back to work, we continue with the struggle. We cannot, you have rights as individuals. I did it to a slave trader. Yes, but I was working at some concept through, I think it was a manual or something. And when I had enough, I said, no, it's okay. I showed them the free. So, you may not be in a situation to do that. I was in a situation to do that. I could live with my sister and try to find a job. You may not be in a situation to do that, to go back to work. That is the best thing. Because you are not employed like proper employees. They've limited your rights to bargain, your bargaining rights as workers. They've limited those rights. We need to fight for them. And the fight starts with the South African Human Rights Commission. It starts with tomorrow's negotiation. It starts there. So, you unfortunately have to go back to work because your strike is what they refer to informally as a wildcat strike. In the books of the law, it is a critical strike because you do not, I agree, you don't have bargaining, whatever rights according to the labor relations. No. Where you must have a union, shop stewards, etc.